Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody to tonight's edition of Sustainable You, which is a webinar series to help Middleton residents learn about ways that they can live more sustainably. As we all try to do our part to fight climate change and also learn how to adapt to it. I'm Lisa Hanairo. I am a member of the Middleton Common Council, and I'm also a member of the city's Sustainability Committee. And it's the committee who co-sponsors these Sustainable You events in partnership with the Middleton Public Library. And I want to thank Liz Zimdars, the Director for Adult Programs at the library, for her extremely capable help behind the scenes in both preparing for these events and also running the show behind us. So tonight's program focuses on recycling. I'm sorry, I have to get this window out of the way. Well, I'll just move on. It focuses on recycling, and we're calling it a reboot because just like how sometimes your computer, like mine just now, seems to not know what to do, and you need to shut it down and reboot it. Sometimes people are the same way. And so this is our opportunity to clear our memory banks and then load up with the latest and greatest information that we have on how to recycle in Middleton. We do have a trash and recycling guide available on the city's website. It has been recently updated to contain some new information that I think we'll be hearing about tonight too. And just to let you know that we do hope in the future to completely revamp the way the information is presented and what we have in there to make it a little more web friendly. So we look forward to having something to share, I hope, in the next year. So tonight we'll hear from three speakers. We're going to hear first from Joe Spare. He's been at Pellitteri for 3 years, and he's the municipal and major account representative. Next, we're going to hear from Marty Burkholder and Christina Kowalik, who are recycling center coordinators here in Middleton at the recycling center up on Parmenter. And Marty is a former DNR employee in air quality management, and he also conducts environmental audits of Wisconsin asphalt plants for the Wisconsin Asphalt Pavement Association. So we're going to start with Joe. Joe, are you ready to share your screen? Great. And just to let everyone know, after the presentations, we're going to have a short, maybe 5-minute segment where I'm calling it show and tell. I'm going to show some items of trash or recycling that have always puzzled me. And I'm gonna ask our expert panel to tell me whether these items are waste and if they're recycling, where I can take them. We're going to take questions when that's over. So please make sure, as you think of questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat. If you want to ask a question, by unmuting your microphone later in the program, when we're all done with the presentations, you can do that too. Just raise your Zoom hand when we get there. Okay, Joe, on to you. Is Joe frozen by any chance?
He may be muted.
No, I don't see him moving. Well, we can see Joe's slides, but we can't hear from Joe. Let's see, Marty, do you want to go next first?
Yeah, we can. Christina and I are going to kind of do a tag team here.
Perfect.
Christina is going to show the slides and kind of walk us through the slides, and then I'm going to add information along the way. So I'll let Christina take it here.
Can everyone see my slides?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, great. So yes, we're going to give you an overview of the Middleton Recycling Center. We're going to go over what to expect when you get there, and then items that we do and don't accept, and then for those items that we don't accept, what you can do with them instead. All right, so hours of operation. We are open every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. till noon, and we are open Saturdays year round, except for major holidays and extreme weather events. We are also open Wednesday evenings only in the summer from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. So that's just May through September. And we're open for City of Middleton residents only.
Okay. And before we, I just want to add too that the recycling center actually opened in spring of 2015. And it is one of the few indoor recycling centers around, I mean, in the state and even around the country. And being inside, it actually allows us to collect more items than if we were a facility that was outside. And the best time to visit, and I want to stress this, really is Wednesday evenings and early on Saturday. If you come at 11:30 or right before noon when we close, don't be surprised if you're waiting in line. And there have been times when the line has stretched all the way to Parmenter Street for folks trying to get in. So please be aware and come early on Saturday or come on Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, what to expect when you arrive. So our address is 4330 Parmenter Street. We are just south of the Park and Ride and north of the Middleton Operations Center. When you get there, you'll be waiting in your car in line at the east entrance. We allow only up to 3 cars inside the building at a time, and that helps control for the flow of traffic. We don't allow walk-ins either through the entrance or the exit. We ask you always stay in your car until you're inside and you stay in the line. When you get inside, if you could please turn off your motor, and then you'll be expected to unload your own items. So if it's something heavy, please do bring somebody with you that can help you unload your items. If you have a paid electronic, which we'll get to in a future slide, which ones are paid, or if you have something that you're either taking or leaving in free cycle, we ask that you see either Marty or myself first, and we're going to be in the yellow vests. And then finally, we accept cash, check, or credit card.
Yeah, and just want to add for the 3-car limit, Christina mentioned that, you know, it gives a better traffic flow. The other reason that we have a 3-car limit, and I know sometimes folks get a little impatient waiting in line, but one of the reasons is for safety. We have not had an accident since the recycling center opened up in 2015. We've never had anybody hit a dumpster, hit another car, or hit a person, and we like to keep it that way. The other reason for 3-car limit is for social distancing. When we had the pandemic, that was a way to make sure that we didn't have too many people inside the recycling center. And, you know, for unloading your own items, it's not that we want to be mean and we don't want to help you, but as a policy, we're not allowed as city employees to help people unload their items from their cars. Okay.
All right, commonly accepted items. So this is not the full list, but these are the most popular items that people bring in that we accept. And we're going to go through a lot of these in more detail in the further slides. So at a high level, we accept corrugated cardboard, block styrofoam, certain plastic bags, electronics, and some of them are paid, but most of them are free. Scrap metal, as long as it's at least 80% metal, 100% hard plastics, raw wood, clothing, shoes, and books that are picked up by Goodwill, rechargeable batteries only at $1 a pound, techno trash, so VHS tapes, CDs, cassettes, DVDs at $1 a pound, and smoke detectors, $10 each.
Yeah, and I just want to add on the corrugated cardboard, we collect a large amount of cardboard, and most often than not, we will fill up a complete dumpster every Saturday, and that's 30 cubic yard size dumpster. And that's one of the reasons why we actually have 2 dumpsters for cardboard, because we just collect so much of it. Also, the for the smoke detectors, some folks wonder why it's $10 each. And that's because there's a little bit of radioactive material in smoke detectors. And that's part of the cost of processing those and having them shipped out.
Mhm. Okay, going over corrugated cardboard. So basically any corrugated cardboard, as long as you flatten it, we accept it. The items that we don't accept, obviously boxes that are not flattened because we don't want to be shipping air and filling up that dumpster too quickly. Also boxes such as cereal boxes or shoe boxes that they are paper, but they're not corrugated. So those would just go in your home trash bin, or I'm sorry, your home recycling bin.
Yeah.
We don't accept cardboard tubes because there's so much glue in them that they're not easily recyclable. And then finally, this molded, I forget what it's called, but it's a molded paper type, a carton type of thing. And that also could go in your home recycling bin, just not in our dumpsters.
Yeah. And if you have any moving boxes, if you could set those aside, we have a place where people have moving boxes in good condition. And then other people who want to use those boxes can go ahead and grab them, and it saves them a little bit of money.
Next topic we're going to talk about is block styrofoam. So we accept those big carrying containers. We use those for somebody comes to pick them up for cat homes, for feral cats. We do accept styrofoam cups, the styrofoam containers that eggs come in, styrofoam takeout containers, as long as you wash them out and they're clean. And then at the bottom left is a picture of block styrofoam. So this could take a lot of different shapes, but the general theme and everything we do accept is that if you could break it and it snaps, then we do accept it. So items that we don't accept, this type of soft, squishy foam, that picture in black. In the middle, there's foam sheets that we also don't accept, packing peanuts, styrofoam containers that are not washed out, and then also foam insulation board. And we ask on everything, if you please remove tape and labels from anything you're putting into our bins.
Yeah, and all those items that have the X there that Christina just mentioned that we don't accept, unfortunately, those are all waste items. As far as we know, nobody accepts peanuts or that other type of foam. That's unfortunately, but that's just the way it is for right now.
Mm-hmm. Next is plastic bags. So we have a very specific list of bags that we know we absolutely do accept. And that includes Ziploc bags, grocery store bags, produce bags, newspaper bags, dry cleaning bags, bread bags, air pillows, and case wrap, which is what paper towels and water bottles will come in. Items that we explicitly don't accept are bubble wrap, salt bags, because it's that very thick plastic, frozen food bags, crunchy plastics like a chip bag, plastic from furniture, thick shower curtains and tarps. As a general rule, if you're not sure, I would stick with the items that we know that we accept and throw everything else out so that it's not wish cycling.
Yeah, and one of the questions I always get, and it's for the salt bags, and there's usually a little recycling sign on there. It's usually like a number 4 or something. And people say, well, why can't I recycle that? And the reason is because there's still some residue of the salt, and it's for that reason, we can't accept it, and it can't go in with the other plastic bags that we do accept.
Next up is paid electronics. So these are the only electronics that we actually charge for. It includes televisions, and whether it's 27 inches or less or more than 27 inches, that depends on, or that'll vary the cost between $20 and $40. Window air conditioners are $20, dehumidifiers, dorm fridges, water coolers, each one is $20. CRT monitors are $10. Those are your old bulky computer monitors from 20 years ago. All-in-one computer monitors are $10. Smoke detectors, like we mentioned before, $10, and a microwave is $5. The only limitation here really is if your TV or your CRT monitor is either literally broken open or the screen is visibly cracked. We won't accept it here. For those items, you will have to go directly to File 13, which is the company that picks up all of these items at the end of a shift. And they will accept them, but they will have a different rate that they will charge you based on, I believe it's the weight of the item you're bringing in.
Okay, I got at least add one thing here.
Yeah.
The reason why we won't accept the TVs and CRT monitors that are cracked is because once they get cracked, either the screen or the back of the TV, that's when you start releasing some of the nasty chemicals that are inside. And that's why File 13, our vendor, will not take them when they pick up. And just to let you know, File 13 will come to pick up all the electronics about 11:45 every Saturday. And they've come like clockwork since 2015. They've never missed a Saturday, but they will come, they will pick up all the paid and the free electronics every Saturday right before noon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. So if you have any direct questions for them, that is a great time to see them in person to ask them. So that's paid electronics, all of the free electronics we accept. So some of the items on the left, they're just suggestions. It's not an exhaustive list by any means, but it's basically anything with a cord or wire we will accept. So all of your computer gear, cell phones and tablets, kitchen items, music and entertainment, hair dryers, curling irons, vacuums, fans, power tools, lawn tools. Specific items that we will not accept are thermometers and thermostats, carbon monoxide detectors, heating pads and heated blankets, oil heaters, ballasts that don't explicitly say on them no PCBs, and finally light bulbs and fluorescent tubes. And a common question we get is it safe to drop off my laptop or my cell phone, knowing that people have sensitive data on those items? And the answer is yes, it is safe with us. File 13 comes at the end of every Saturday shift to pick up everything, and anything that has data on it, they pulverize. So that really shouldn't be an issue, but if you wanted to learn more, you could contact them, and their number is listed there at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, and the thermostats and thermometers, the reason why is because they have mercury in them, and our vendor File 13 will not accept them because of that.
Okay, scrap metal, the item has to be at least 80% metal. So there's obviously a lot of different items that could qualify here. Some examples are pipes, aluminum chairs, old bikes that really nobody should be riding, some of the metal that you have in your garden for fencing, file cabinets, outdoor grills, as long as you remove the propane tank, which brings me to the side of things we don't accept, which is propane tanks. Either the 1 pound ones or the larger ones are not accepted here.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of times people say, well, my tank is completely empty of propane, but we still can't accept it because there's still a risk that there may be a little bit of propane in there, some residue, and that could potentially cause an explosion. So that's why we do not accept any propane tanks.
Next up is hard plastic. This is a new one that we brought on just a few months ago. Our major requirement here is that it has to be 100% plastic. So some of our like Tupperware and big storage bins, outdoor lawn chairs, some of your pots, this 5-gallon Home Depot bucket, we do accept it as long as you remove that metal handle from it. Same with the kids' car above it. We would accept it as long as you remove the metal axles or any of the screws so that it truly is just 100% plastic. An example of something that we don't take though is kids' car seats. And even if you were to remove all of the cloth and the seat belts, what we learned recently was that there is metal embedded in the plastic, and that is why we can't accept it.
Yeah. And Christina mentioned we just recently got hard plastic. We actually had hard plastics when the recycling center opened up in 2015, and we had it for a few years, and then we lost it because Pellitteri just couldn't accept it anymore. There wasn't a place or market for it, and we're very fortunate now that we've got hard plastics back.
Mhm. Next up is raw wood. So a big call out here is that it's okay if there are nails in the wood. We'll take anything that doesn't have, or any wood that doesn't have paint, varnish, or stain on it. It has to be completely raw. Pallets are okay. Little scraps of wood are okay. Things we don't take also include particle board and OSB, beyond the fact of anything that has paint or varnish or stain on it. Next up, these are other accepted items that are a little bit smaller programs, but we still do accept them. This includes printer and toner cartridges, eyeglasses, Christmas lights, durable medical equipment. We have a series of programs under TerraCycle, and this includes Tom's products, Brita filters and pitchers, any Burt's Bees products, Solo cups, Bic pens and markers, disposable razors and their packaging, Gillette brand specifically, toothbrushes, toothpaste, floss packages. Colgate sponsors this program, but you could bring in those items from any brand. And then finally, we do accept motor oil and oil filters, and those we collect just outside of the building, just south of it. And so because it's outdoors, you don't have to wait for us to be open on a Wednesday or Saturday. You can drop it off at any time of day.
Yeah. And for the durable medical equipment, we usually collect a lot of crutches and some wheelchairs. There's a gentleman, his name is Dr. Mickey, and he has a project where he will take all that durable medical equipment and he sends it to Cuba to be reused by those folks over there.
Finally, items that are not accepted and what you can do with them. So people often ask about light bulbs and fluorescent tubes. We don't take them here, but you could take them to PKK lighting or batteries plus bulbs. We do accept rechargeable batteries, but what to do with non-rechargeable batteries? You could take them to batteries plus bulbs. For paint and chemicals, for latex paint, that type of paint you want to let dry out at home, and you can use kitty litter to help it dry out. And once it's dry, you could remove the paint the cover and then dispose of the whole thing in your trash can. If it is oil-based paint, that you will have to take to Clean Sweep, which is on the east side of town next to the Dane County landfill. And they also take chemicals there too, and they charge by the load. So I would suggest taking a whole big load over there at one time. And then some of our bigger items like furniture, mattresses, soft items like pillows, broken glass, kids' car seats, all of that unfortunately is trash. So you would either take that directly to the Dane County landfill, or if something is too heavy or too bulky to take over there, you could call Pellitteri for them to pick it up at your house, but there will be a charge associated with that. And then finally, thermostats, you could dispose of those in your trash.
Is that our last slide?
We have two more.
Oh,
Almost done.
Oh, we still have
FreeCycle. So FreeCycle is our take it, leave it, and take it. So items that are still in great condition that you think somebody else might appreciate. Before you leave something, we ask that you see us first, because there are some items that we just don't accept. And if you do take anything, we ask that you sign a waiver in case of any safety issues associated with the item, so that the city of Middleton isn't held liable. So for items that we do accept, In general, it's anything that can be recycled in our facility. If it's been sitting there for weeks or months and nobody wants it, we at least have a way that we can recycle it. So things that are metal, things that are 100% plastic, common items that people bring in that we do take are lawnmowers, snow throwers, trimmers, and leaf blowers. And even if they don't work, people come in to take them for parts. And eventually, if still nobody wants them, those are items that we can move over to our metals bin. Like I mentioned, metal items that are in good shape, like bicycles that maybe just have a flat tire or need a new chain, bed frames, tools, hardware. Items that we specifically do not accept are furniture, office chairs, again, because there's no place for us to recycle those if nobody wants them. Soft items like pillows and pet beds, electronics, even if they still work, we're still going to accept them in electronic recycling. And the same with if you bring in a TV and you say, but it still works, we still would only accept it in electronics recycling, and it would be considered a paid item. Other items we don't accept: artificial Christmas trees, and then plastic items if they're not at least, or if they're not fully 100% plastic.
And for the lawnmowers and snow blowers, I mean, we get quite a few of those, and there are guys who actually come in looking for old lawnmowers and snow blowers, and they will either fix them up or they, will use them for parts. And that's something that I've seen some people come in every week looking for that kind of equipment.
Finally, our last slide, which is if you're looking for more information. So even everything we mentioned already is not the full list of everything we accept. So we encourage you to go to our website that lists everything. You can also just Google Middleton Recycling Center and it'll take you there directly. You could call us during our hours of operation, Saturdays and Wednesdays. The number is listed there. You can stop by our facility and talk with us directly. And then finally, if you've done all those things or you still can't find the answer that you're looking for, you could email Kelly Hilliard, and her email address is there, and she will pass the information on to us or pass the question to us or answer it herself.
Yeah. And just a few final comments. When you're at the recycling center, please take time to read the signs. I mean, we have signs in front of all the dumpsters and for the electronics and for the free cycle. And the signs really help give information on what we accept and what we don't accept, and in the condition of the different items. For cardboard, it's got to be flattened and remove the tape from the styrofoam. Please be patient. Like I said earlier, there are times when at the end of like 11:30, closer to noon, there sometimes can be a line, and people get a little impatient, and so we just ask that you be patient, and you'll get in eventually, and just kind of hold on there a little bit. And if you have a question, just feel free to either ask myself or Christina when we're there, and we'll do the best to answer any of the questions you have.
That is the end of our presentation.
Yep.
Thank you, Marty and Christina, for that great presentation. I learned a lot, and I hope the audience did too. And we will have time for questions after the next presentation and our show and tell segment. Joe.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, good. You're always welcome. So first we heard about the recycling that you need to take to the recycling center. Now we're going to hear about the recycling that you can do at your curbside. So Joe, take it away.
Sure thing. Trying to share my screen. It said the host disabled participant screen sharing. I don't think I entered as a participant. Let's try this again. There we go. Thank you. All right. I'm not sure where I got cut off where I got cut off before. So I apologize. Apparently this storm has wreaked havoc on internet connection. Seems to be going okay now. You're not missing anything by not seeing my face. I promise you that. It seems to help bandwidth. The important stuff is what you see here on my slide. And could I get a thumbs up from Marty or Lisa? Okay, you're seeing it. Great.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So again, if this is redundant, I apologize. I am Joe Spare. I am primarily responsible for curbside residential contracts in the 35 municipalities that we do currently service, and genuinely value the partnerships that we have in all of them, and definitely with the city of Middleton. It's been a long time partnership. We've worked very closely to come up with the programs between increasing curbside recycling to the weekly level and coming up with programs at the MRC. It's definitely been a tight relationship in coming up with these options to make sure that, you know, sustainability is at a maximum as long as, you know, we can continue to take items either curbside or at the MRC. The MRC is a great option for you guys to have. It's one of the most impressive recycling centers that I have seen. So I just want to put that out there because the city has done an excellent job at this. Moving on to next slide. Sorry, trying to get my thing to react here. Here we go. So quick agenda. Now I'm going to try to be respectful of time so we can get to the Q&A because I assume there's going to be a decent amount and I love the interaction. So I'm just going to give you a brief overall history of the Pellitteri family, and then what we do at Kip Street Station and some of the improvements we've made in the past 12 months to continue to offer what we do, as well as some expanded offerings, which leads me to the next slide. And then a lot of people wonder, you know, once it leaves my home and my cart, where does that go? So I'm going to touch on that. And then as well as some wish cycling. I'm glad Christina threw that term out there. It means it's getting popular, unfortunately, but at the same time, it's good that we can kind of talk about that and contamination, and then just give you guys some additional resources that you can access at pellitteri.com if you're not able to find them on the city's website. So jumping into it, as you can see here, this is our mission and our business values that we live by every day, and some nice photos of the Pellitteri family. Pellitteri has been a family-owned and operated company for over 43 years. And you can see in the bottom right picture, the gentleman in the center, that's Tom Pellitteri. He's the one who took the company over from his father, who actually started 80 years ago. And, you know, unfortunately, due to his untimely death, Tom moved on to do other things, but then came back to Madison and restarted Pelliteri's 43 years ago. It literally started from his basement. It's actually a pretty impressive story. He essentially got enough money together to get a truck to haul trash, and then he would do that during the early hours of the morning, come home, grab a bite to eat, change into a suit, and go out and sell. He was a very, very busy man. And then fast forward to today, and we are a company of just over 100 employees. We have over 60 trucks, and have grown tremendously. So he's very much still involved. He is our president. His three children, Danielle, David, and Tim, are now running the company. And they have done a tremendous job of just aligning resources and creating departments and keeping a very tight-knit family-run company. I mean, you can't say this for every hauler in the market, that I can literally walk downstairs and talk to our operations team, who could immediately radio drivers and make things turn on a dime. I see the drivers every day. I know them by name. So it feels like a very tight-knit environment, and like it's just one big family, and it's a pleasure to work for them. So Kip Street Station, that is what we named our MRF, is what some people call it, but it's a material recovery facility, which is also referred to as the recycling center. So you can see it there. It's not far from the city of Middleton. It's just off Stoughton Road, kind of tucked back in the industrial park. So your stuff doesn't really travel too far to get processed. So a lot of people wonder, you know, how does it operate? Well, it operates 2 shifts, Monday through Friday.
Joe, I think we lost you.
I think you're right, Liz.
Occasionally on a Saturday, if Are you
Joe?
still seeing my screen?
You're breaking up, so you're already not showing your video, and that's good. I guess I would ask you to maybe move on to the next slide in case we lose you.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how to send you the message when we lose you, but maybe watch watch my face for a thumbs up or down if something goes wrong.
Okay. Are you hearing me again? Okay. So last year we added technology to our system to capture more of the smaller cardboard boxes, whereas historically they were getting mixed into the paper stream, which unfortunately, once that happens, they're turned into end of life products. So tissue paper and things of that nature, whereas cardboard could be recycled multiple times. So that was a good improvement to make sure that smaller cardboard items were being turned into more cardboard items. In addition, we added technology to capture some more of the plastic sorting capabilities. So some of the PET plastics that, would have historically been sorted and discarded as residual, which is a fancy term for trash. Now we're able to get more of the PET bottles and keep the trash rates down. So then also lowering the costs associated with residual. And then one of the new exciting things
We lost Joe again. I don't know if you can hear me, Joe.
is this was it.
Joe, we're losing you again, but I can see it says stop throwing away those Starbucks cups, and the exclamation point tells me that's the exciting news, and I'll back that up. It is very exciting to know that. Are you there, Joe?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I don't know. It's not dropping my Zoom, so I apologize. I'm not sure
It's all
what's going
right. It's happened to all of us. No worries.
So I'll try to speed through this. So the neat thing with us is we have an expanded list of recyclables. So some things that are not required by state law that we are recycling are hot and cold paper cups, the paper milk and juice cartons, metal pots and pans, which shocks a lot of people. They don't realize that. Shredded paper, properly prepared, that's in clear plastic bags, usually like size of a basketball. So if you get like a clear shopping bag, that's usually ideal. Small metal appliances like toasters and blenders, nothing larger than a basketball. That's like our rule of thumb is basketball. It's the easiest thing to put in perspective. And then small metal plumbing fixtures like faucets and valves, and then tin and steel cans. Those are things that we
I think he was trying to say that these are the things that they do accept. And one thing I learned, Joe, while we're waiting for you to come back, one thing I learned last week when we did the practice for this is the small metal appliances can go right into the blue recycling bin, which I had no idea. So that was pretty exciting. I'm not sure if a curling iron, maybe Christina knows the answer to this. I'm not sure if a curling iron is smaller than a basketball. If it's not clear, I guess I'll take curling irons
do
too.
currently accept that are not required by state law. So
All right, well now I think we've lost Joe entirely. Liz, would you agree with that?
Yep, he was having some issues. We had him come in and out again. So I think he's just having some connectivity issues. Hopefully we'll get him back. But Lisa,
Okay.
maybe you want to start with your show and tell?
Yes, I can do that. And Marty and Christina are going to have to be the people answering my questions here. Okay, so I think I got some of it already. Plastic bags. So here's my bag of Bagels Forever bags. This I could take to the recycling center, correct?
Correct.
Does it matter that they're all bagged up together?
Recording in progress.
Is it okay that I
Yeah,
just
no,
take-
it's fine. Yeah, and actually, we prefer that you, if you're gonna bring plastic, put it in a bag and then put it all together.
Okay, all right. Well, I also heard that Ziploc bags are allowed. What about a Ziploc bag like this? This is a Ziploc, but it has, It was a fruit bag.
I'm gonna say no on that one. Christina may disagree or not, but.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's too crinkly.
Too crinkly.
Yeah, that's how you
Okay.
can tell.
Yeah.
All right.
A crunchy plastic.
Yeah.
And all right, that's good to know. I would have put those, I would have been wish cycling. I really would have put those in
Yeah.
there. So I heard you say no to the I guess the frozen food bags, and I assume that means my tea bag too. This is kind of crunchy.
Yep.
All right, and then I'll do one more thing of plastic bags, and then we'll see if Joe is there. What about still too crunchy?
Probably too crunchy or too thick.
Yeah, these are,
Yep.
this is the inside of a cereal box, and this
Yep.
is my,
Yeah,
My
those are
cereal.
no-nos. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, all right. Joe, I see you ready? Okay. Joe, say something so we know you're there.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to try this through my cell phone.
Okay.
We'll see if this works, and I apologize. So
No worries.
you're not gonna see the presentation, unfortunately. I could definitely email it out, but I only had a couple more slides. So I want to go through where your recyclables go. So glass, through our partnership with Strategic Materials, it goes to them, and what that happens is it gets made into new glass bottles, which is fantastic because glass can be recycled over and over and over again. And if you think about it, glass equates to 20% of your recycling, and 10% is residual. It's just stuff that people put in with wish cycling, or it's contaminated. So that's 30% of your recycling that could be going to the landfill if a hauler, not us, because we do recycle it, claims that they recycle it, but there are certain facilities that own landfills, which we don't. We haul exclusively to Dane County. They get DNR exemption to use glass as an alternate cover at their landfill, which is heartbreaking to me, because they'll say they're accepting it and they'll claim they're recycling it when it's just getting landfilled. So that's just a fact that a lot of people don't realize. Paper and cardboard. So paper and cardboard go to 3 different processors here in Wisconsin. We always try to keep our partnerships very close. We also have a processor in Wisconsin for those cartons. And then some of our cardboard will go to Indiana, and it gets made into new cardboard products. And then paper is used to make tissue paper. So like I had pointed out earlier, trying to capture the most cardboard we can to be made into more cardboard is better than tissue paper, because then that's an end of life product. Plastics. We currently send our number 2 natural plastics to Michigan to get made into new number 2 color bottles. And then in turn, number 2 color bottles go to Iowa, where the materials used to make black drainage tile for construction, farm field and landscape edging and things like that. And number 1 bottles are made into new water bottles, or sometimes made into carpeting or clothing, which is kind of impressive. And metal stays local through our partnerships here in Madison, and they're essentially melted down to make new metal products. What I don't think I got to, a lot of people wonder how much recycling that we currently collect. So right now, just on our residential side, we collect from over 61,000 homes. And that increased by 10,000 homes alone in January of this year. We were fortunate enough to get contracts to service 6 new municipalities. So we're very excited about that. So we're sorting about 200 to 225 tons a day. So that's a pretty high volume. And the reason that the center is operating 20 hours a day, that's a lot of work, but we're happy to do it. Anything to divert things from the landfill. So like I had mentioned, I want to touch on wish cycling. So wish cycling essentially is when you recycle an item because you wish it were recyclable, even though it's not. While we wish every item could be recycled, that's not the case. So when you recycle an item incorrectly, unfortunately, that contributes to contamination, and it can contaminate clean recyclables. So it really only takes 1 person, and it's all going into the same truck. So if your recycling is contaminated, it can cause properly prepared recyclable items to be taken to the landfill, which we definitely want to avoid. So that's why we put a lot of effort into joining things like this and creating, public education type videos, which are available on our website. So if you're ever in doubt, just check if your item can be recycled by visiting pellitteri.com.
Thank you, Joe. I think you're in a Bermuda Triangle of internet and cell connectivity, but we really appreciate you. You put in a great effort, and I hope you can still hear me because we're going to move back into a very quick show and tell thing, which, I could have called it recycle / or wish cycle, because I do that. I think I do it a lot, sadly. Okay, so back to, we covered plastic bags. Here's one that has always puzzled me because, and no one talked about the cleanliness of items. So I'd like to get some feedback on that. So I go through probably one of these every week because someone in the house really likes it. Frank's hot sauce. You can see it's clean, but it's stained with the Frank's hot sauce. So can I recycle this? I would put this in my bin. So Joe, I don't know if you're still there, but this would go in the bin. Expert opinion? Marty, you're muted. You're muted, Marty.
I'm sorry. I would say yes, as long as it's got the number on the bottom of the bottle, the recycle number.
Okay. What about items like this is, refrigerated package. This is aseptic packaging. They're clean. They've got their caps on.
Yeah, and that's a yes as well. And I think that's the one that Joel mentioned, that they're going above and beyond what needs to, what's required for recycling. So they are accepting those.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, moving on to glass items. So this is a glass jar with a metal lid. Here's a glass bottle with the plastic lid and the little plastic, if you can see that little plastic thing that holds the cap on. And then here is a salad dressing. So, oily, I've cleaned it out, but could still be oily. And it's got this plastic wrapper around it. So what about these? How do I recycle this? Just the glass, no lid?
No, the lid is metal, right?
The lid is metal.
Yeah, so that is recyclable.
Okay. So, but I shouldn't keep it like this, right? Because that means somebody's got to.
I usually separate it myself. Yeah.
Okay. Joe?
Joe is back.
Do you concur?
You could actually leave the lid on.
I
Okay.
can. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a glass crushing mechanism that'll crush the glass into tiny pieces, and then our magnets will pick up the metal piece to put it in the metal processing system.
That's great. What about this one with the plastic bottle cap?
You could leave your caps on all plastic, whether it's a container or a bottle. Yep.
Okay, but this is a glass bottle, so but I can still leave a plastic cap on?
You can, yes.
Okay, awesome. And do I have to worry about this little bit of plastic on the outside of my Brianna's salad dressing?
Don't worry about the labels. Those could also stay on.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, moving on. We had talked about metal. This is a nut container. So it's like metal, cardboard, plastic lid, and probably some nut residue that I should get out of there first. So I know I can recycle the lid because it's a number 2. What about the rest of it?
I actually would not do the lid. If you want to keep in mind that it has to be a plastic container, that lid is flat enough that it will get mistaken for paper and contaminate the paper stream.
Okay, what about this guy? Garbage?
Yeah.
All right, we won't be buying these anymore. There's gonna be some disappointed guys in the house. Okay, cardboard containers. This one I washed, that's why it's all flattened. This one just had rice in it. Are these recyclable anywhere? Did we lose Joe or is he stumped? Christina, Marty, any guess?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we don't take at the recycling center is pizza boxes, even though it's corrugated. And the reason why is because there's usually a little bit of oil on them. So we do not take those So I'm assuming that these may be the same thing.
I have my pizza box and I read that you have to take, it's just the lid because of course the bottom's gonna have all kinds of stains from the
Grease.
pizza. Yeah, and see, there's like a little bit of grease right there
Yeah,
that, must have been touching. So no to the pizza. I shouldn't. I wish
As
Joe
long-
were here. Joe, are you there? Nope, we lost Joe again.
Hmm.
All right, well, that one will remain a mystery whether I can put it.
I'm here. I'm
He's
sorry.
back.
Oh, okay. So could I put my pizza box lid, even if it has like a spot of grease or two, could I put that in recycling?
I would say if it's minimal,
Minimal, okay.
yeah,
right,
I would
good.
definitely throw the bottom away because that's gonna be covered in grease and cheese and all that stuff.
Yep. Toilet paper rolls. Do I have to flatten these?
Nope, those are fine. I mean, they'll probably get compacted flat anyway, but those are fine.
Okay. What about bags like this that have, they're paper, but they have this very thick paper, twisted paper handle?
I would just remove the handle just because any twine or line or anything that could gunk up, the rotating pieces would
Yep.
be safer.
Okay. Good to know. Foil ball. Do I have to take this to the recycling center or can I put that in my blue bin?
No foils in the blue bin.
No foils in the blue bin, but I can take it to the center?
Yep.
Christina, Marty,
Yeah.
okay. This is Barbasol, it's not Gillette. Can I not bring it to the recycling center?
Empty aerosol cans can go in your curbside cart.
Oh, good to know. See,
Yeah.
I'm learning. Okay. I only have two more. One, or actually three. This is this is like 2 weeks of junk mail. So can I just dump all this into my recycle bin? What about things like these are stickers? Everybody gets the return address labels. What should I do with junk mail?
I would discourage stickers. If you want to be a super recycler, any envelope with that plastic film window on it, please remove the plastic film. But yeah, junk mail, magazines, books, soft cover books. If it's hardcover, just remove the hardcover and all the paper in between can go in.
Okay. Someone I saw in the chat had asked about fabric. So here's like an old pair of pants that I used to use for painting, but now that was 20 years ago. I have other pants I can use. What if I want to recycle old, wholly stained shirts and things, but they're not Goodwill quality. They're just, it's the textile itself, the fabric that might be recyclable.
Not in a single stream environment. It is not. I would say if you can use them for rags to wash cars or something, just reuse them.
Mhm.
That would be your best bet if it can't be reused by like a donation store.
Okay, all right, good to know. And then here's my last one, and then we'll go to the audience for question. Nobody mentioned these, which of course we all have tons of now, right? These are masks, disposable masks. What can I do with those?
Unfortunately, they're trash. We have not found a way to recycle those at all.
Yeah, we were collecting those through TerraCycle, and we had a box where you could dispose of those at the library. But I think that filled up, and I think that we kind of stopped doing that.
Okay, that's why I thought they were recycled. That's actually why I've been saving them, because I remembered seeing the bin at the library and I guess I was wishing it would stick around so I could recycle. Okay, good to know. So now we have a few questions from the audience and then we'll wrap up with some announcements. So question, does a recycling center take hard plastic plant containers that annual plants are sold in? What about small plastic 4-packs? Christina and Marty.
Yeah, yes, we do. Yeah, we just ask that you wash it out so it's not covered in dirt and, make sure they're as clean as possible.
Okay. And then how about, here's the fabric scraps. Also unusable bedding and linens. Can they be recycled? Does Goodwill only want usable items? I don't think Goodwill takes, well, I can't remember. I don't remember if they take linens.
I don't think they do. I think they prefer usable items. I know that they will not accept things like pillows and as far as I know, they may not take blankets. And the reason why is because of possible little critters and bugs in them. That's one of the reasons.
Sure. Okay. What about black plastic trays that are part of grocery store ready-to-eat meals? So I'm thinking like, the frozen foods that you can microwave and peel off the plastic top and.
As long as they're clean, I mean, they gotta be washed out and clean. I think that's acceptable.
Okay.
If it's like a bowl, something more 3D, that if it's too flat, it will get mistaken as paper.
Oh, okay. All right. So not like a plate, but a bowl should be okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then is there any place to recycle kitchen oil and cooking grease?
That we do not accept. I'm wondering if Dane County Clean Sweep may take that, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'd have to check that one to be sure.
Joe, do you have any idea?
I would agree with Marty. I would check with Dane County Clean Sweep.
Okay. I have one last question about, again, going back to cleanliness. So it's summertime, people are having parties outside. I was just recently at a party where there was a recycling bag and people were putting their cans, their soda pop cans into the bag, but they weren't rinsing them out. Is that a problem? Joe?
That's Joe. Yeah, Joe on that one.
The bags? I'm sorry, I was
Well,
choppy.
no, I'm sorry. So the situation is if you have cans, like Pepsi or Coke cans or something, and it's like a party, people are throwing their unrinsed cans into a bag for recycling. Is that okay to have that unrinsed, all those unrinsed cans in there?
Yeah, I mean, as long
as
as they're empty of fluid, you don't necessarily have to rinse them. I would keep them in their 3D form because that's the way our system recognizes them. And as long as they're in clear plastic bags.
Okay. And then here's another question, couple of questions. Prescription bottles and deli containers, okay, with lids still on?
Yeah, so deli containers, as long as it's stamped with a 1 through 7, and any clamshell containers, like the clear ones that a lot of people or stores use as the when they had like salad buffets, clamshell containers are accepted as well. And if your prescription bottle is marked with a 1 through 7.
Okay. And you would want to take, I always take my labels off just because that's me. What about, so what numbers of plastic containers are accepted in the bins, the blue bins? And then what do the letters mean that are around the numbers?
So 1 through 7, and sometimes letters you'll see like HDPE or PPE, and there's just, so it's just the type of plastic that is. So it's like there's polypropylene, there's high density polyurethane. There's a lot of different meanings, and that's what the letters usually stand for.
Okay. What about carry out paper coffee cups with a waxy inside?
Yep, as long as you take the lids off and the straws out and discard those as trash, the paper cups are totally fine.
All right. What about deli lids on their own? I'm going to guess that's a no because you told me not to recycle this lid on its own.
Yeah, too flat. It's too flat, as well as like your tomato or soup lids that you take off with your can opener. If you want those to be recognized, your best bet is to put that back into the container and crimp the top shut so it doesn't fall out, because if it's so flat, it will carry on in the paper stream, unfortunately.
I started doing that after watching one of the videos on your website, Joe, so that's good.
Good, thank you.
And then the last audience question, this is, Madison has folks put small metals inside bigger cans and then pinch the open top close. Is this okay? So you just said that's okay for the lids, but what about like if I wanted to recycle last year's dog tags? Could I put those inside a can and crimp that too?
Probably, like the metal.
All right, well, we're going to go with probably on that one. Thank you, Joe.
We're thinking about usually that are more common is you want to put those. So your twist off bottle tops, those are other ones that you want to put in a larger can and crimp it shut because those will fall into glass. So any small metal items, just put in a larger container and crimp it shut. It's more probable to be recognized and carry through with the metals.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for the Q&A. There's a lot more that we could cover. I mean, we learned a ton about what we can recycle and then got into like the granular part of it, like, what really, how do we do this? So I really appreciate that. I could see us coming back to this topic again after we update the, or really revamp the trash and recycling guide. So thank you, Joe and Marty and Christina for your presentations. We're going to wrap up with just a couple of short announcements. If I can get my recycling reboot, there it is. All right, play my slideshow. Okay, so normally at this time, I would be telling you all what the next topic would be for Sustainable You, and I'd be asking you to mark your calendars for the date, but this is our last scheduled session. So we're going to send out an evaluation just like we always do. And I've put a question in the evaluation asking if you would like to see this series continue. We started back in, I guess it was September or October. We only had put on the calendar through June, and now we're taking a break over the summer. But if you would like to see this series resume in the fall, please make sure you fill out your evaluation to let us know. In terms of what's coming up right now on the horizon, we do have the Middleton Sustainable City Plan is out for public comment during the whole month of June. This is a plan for helping Middleton achieve the vision that Common Council set for sustainability of meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The Sustainability Committee wrote this plan to focus just on 3 years, including the one we're in. And our primary focus is to help the city achieve the goal of meeting 100% of our community's energy needs through clean, renewable sources by the year 2050. That is a city resolution that council passed unanimously back in 2018. We're going to have 2 public information sessions so that you can learn a little bit about the plan and also provide your input in person or on Zoom. Those sessions both start at 6:30 next Thursday, June 23rd. It'll be physically at the library on the lower level. And we also have a Monday, June 27th session that's going to be on Zoom. And you can find the draft plan, which is only 15 pages long. We wrote it intentionally for a citizen resident audience, not for people who are professional planners or plan readers. So it's very accessible. I hope you'll take a look at it and join one of the public information sessions if you can, or else just fill out the Polco survey that's available on the sustainability webpage on the Middleton City website. And the comment period will end on June 30th at midnight. So please make sure you send in your comments before then. And then finally, July 10th, next month, we're going to be holding a celebration of solar, or as we call it, a Solarbration, and it's going to be at the Lakeview Park Outdoor Shelter. You may have noticed that there are solar panels now on the shelter. They were installed last fall, but we decided to do the Solarbration when it was a little nicer weather-wise. So we're holding it on July 10th. That's a Sunday. There's no charge to be there. We're going to have solar not presentations. We'll have remarks from elected officials and others in the city to share information on what Middleton is doing to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions and combat climate change. And then we'll have exhibits available where you can learn about different ways to make your home more climate friendly. How to bring solar into your home, whether it's by installing panels or participating in a solar shares program through MG&E. And best of all, we're going to have the vendors there who are participating in the Madison Solar Group Buy. I put solar on my roof 2 years ago through the group buy. It was a great experience. And we'll have people there like me and my husband who will be there to talk to you if you have any questions about our experiences taking that step. And so I hope everybody will be able to attend. We're also going to have door prizes, and I think we're going to have some food available for purchase. So mark your calendar, July 10th, 2 to 4:30 p.m. at the Lakeview Park Outdoor Shelter. And that is all we have. So again, watch for a message to come from the library tomorrow. It'll have a link to where you can find the recording of this session. And we'll also have the evaluation link. Please fill it out. We really do appreciate all the input that we get. We've got a lot of ideas for future speakers and topics to focus on, thanks to the evaluations that people have filled out. So please make sure to fill out your evaluation when you get it. And that's all I have for tonight. So thank you for tuning in to Sustainable You. We hope this session helps you become a more sustainable you. Thank you, everyone.